Test, hello? Test. Okay. That's weird. I thought I changed my stream title, but it does not changing on Twitch. Whatever, I can change it when I upload it to YouTube, doesn't matter. Hey, Stanley Parable, we're back. Back exactly where I left off, haven't done anything. So we'll see if Stanley Parable 2 is actually real or not. I've been thinking about it, I was like, is that actually Stanley Parable 2? Or am I just gonna, like, see one little gag and then go back to the Stanley Parable? I don't know. But we'll see. So we're gonna begin. Because it's very like this game to do something like that and have it be nothing.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard.
Okay.
Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Okay. So far, we have this already there, ready to go. So far there's balloons.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Yeah. Oh no. Why? Oh my god. Okay. Why is that blocked off? Do I want the bucket? Fine.
Stanley picked up the bucket.
What do I do with it? Oh. Door 416 is back.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Is all the dialogue redone except for including buckets?
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers.
Oh no.
Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy? It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with
mine.
Cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in.
Yeah.
Don't hand over the bucket.
No.
I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right
That
now.
ain't
But you have to
nothing.
be strong. This is your bucket. This is your companion and lifelong friend.
That's sweat off my back.
Oh no. We're getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk, that it has to resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket?
Yeah.
Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends?
What?
That your relationship is purely superficial and convenient?
Ugh.
That your life is so banal and meaningless that you'd feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner? Well, I never. Go on, Stanley. Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments. Expand on the wide variety of experiences you and the bucket have shared together. Go through each of them point by point. Share your journal entries detailing the rich emotional landscape of your feelings for the bucket as they have
Some
changed
broom closet
and
you are.
evolved over the years. Let him
No one
have
even
it.
wanted to bother finishing you. Look, the walls aren't done. The walls aren't even finished. That's how little people care about you.
Okay, I've got you something which I think will help settle this debate once and for all. Here we go. There. Now it's settled. No more debate, no more discussion. Take a hike, broom closet, with all your meandering philosophical diatribes about the nature of cleaning supplies and their relationship to broom closets in the natural order of things.
Oh, hey, welcome back. We got a property of Stanley. Yes!
All right, I've got a second sticker back here, and I'm going to slap it on as well because I think it's appropriate.
Yep. Yes!
See? I feel that it works because the sticker is also a bucket.
Yep.
That way, if you're ever unsure whether the thing you're holding is a bucket or not, you can look down at this sticker and say to yourself, ah,
That's
it's
bucket.
a bucket. There really is a wide variety of applications for this sticker.
Well, it's like one, but...
You know what? I
What?
could take the name-calling and the dismissal of your kinship with the bucket, but now the broom closet is just giving us the silent treatment. And to be honest, I'm sick of the pettiness on display. You can stay here all you like, but I've had it with this impetulant room of cleaning supplies. Easily the most childish such room I've ever been in. I'll see you outside, and we can get on with the story about you and your bucket.
Yep. Okay. I used all my jumps. When I got to the showcase, was it? Or no, the very beginning of new content, I used all my jumps immediately. I should have kept some. But maybe it got refreshed, I'm not sure. We'll see. So I leave. Is there anything coming back in? No, okay.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Alright. Come along, pal. What do I name this bucket? It's got some stickers now, which is nice.
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
I am. Why is the smiling Stanley so cursed? I see it in the background still. I've got the feeling money's for stealing, but not yours, of course. Say that's a lovely verse. Nice. Anyways, Respawn. If you're going to school, have a good day at school. Thanks for tuning in for even just a little bit. I appreciate it. If you wanted to watch again, the VOD will be up on my Twitch for a while. I think it used to be 2 weeks, but now it's like a month or something, I think. It'll be up for however long it can be up, and then it'll be on my YouTube as well sometime later. So you don't have to miss anything if you gotta go. Can't get in there yet.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845.
I'm not aware. I don't even notice. I'm just looking at my beautiful, bodacious bucket.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
I'm going to call the bucket Beckett.
2845.
Whatever.
Forgot, but it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in.
Why is the ceiling so
and the door
high
just
here?
opened all by itself.
There's no
and Stanley
need.
got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
Hey, don't talk to me in my bucket that way. Me and Beckett.
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands? Stanley figs? Or what about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
I hate it. I don't like that. Let's call them mini Stanleys. Stanley figures or something. It doesn't need a catchy name, it just, you know, it conveys the information. It gets the point across.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
They just did it's just the same game, but like all the dialogues we recorded to include a bucket. It's fantastic.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
Okay. Yes, we did. But what was in this mind control facility? There's a button. I'm good at pressing buttons. 360 push.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
What do you think it is, Beckett?
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
It's okay. It'll all be fine. Come along, Beckett.
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well?
No.
Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket.
No!
He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
That means I can't trust you.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and
Or
the
a bucket.
would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
I didn't know that a bucket could say things like that.
Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over? Yes, they had done it.
Yeah.
Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Okay. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth.
What?
Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end.
What?
True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support. What? Wait. What was happening? Why had the door stopped? Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed?
Come on.
An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty, until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave.
No!
Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket, would go to any lengths not to touch the bucket.
Please!
No. Stanley can't leave this place. Not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms. Not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room. But at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out.
Oh no!
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Figure Finders Committee meeting today in the meeting room!
Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him.
That's right. Can I get back? Can I do the first ending with this? No.
Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the trophy?
Yes.
Click a door 5 times? Is that all you think a trophy is worth? No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks? Now, suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition. I have to say, I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort for a noble cause. Perhaps 50 clicks will do it. Yes, almost certainly 50 clicks. No, I'm still not feeling it. I want this trophy to have meant something. Okay. It has to be a true reward.
Is there no all
for
dialogue
valiant
in the bucket?
effort. I want to see some hustle, Stanley. I want to see commitment, a willingness to go all the way no matter the cost. Why don't you put 20 bucket touches into door 417?
Bucket touches. I knew there had to be something.
Okay, great. Now, go touch the bucket on door 437 a few times.
437. Ah.
Yes, now we're getting somewhere. How about door 415? Give it some bucket love.
Yes. Every door needs some bucket love.
Now back to door number 437.
Alright. Give me some bucket love.
I think the copy machine needs some attention. Why don't you rub the bucket on it a bit? All right, back to room 417. I'm really feeling it now. I think we're getting somewhere. Okay, now bring the bucket on top of employee 419's desk. Yes, this is great. Now the bucket knows exactly what it's like to be employee 419. Now, let's introduce it to door 416.
416. Okay, that's the this one.
We've almost got it. Now make the bucket and the copy machine touch again.
Yes. Come on. Beckett.
Finish it off, Stanley. 5 touches of the bucket on door 430. Yes! We did it!
Yes!
Wow! That felt amazing. You know, not all buckets will get this kind of experience.
Alright. And then we got to close ourselves into this room. I'm glad I did stream like the entirety of this game regularly, because now you get to, you know, I can fully remember the differences. So if I close myself in. Maybe not. Not yet anyways, maybe next time. Wait, what? What is this? What? Why? What? 4 or 5? What? This is different. What? Wait. It was. You're supposed to go. You go through. It's funny that the narrator mentioned sneezing in every country. I got a bit of a cold right now, so I'm sneezing. So, like, I might go silent for a few seconds here and there. That's just me sneezing or, you know, sniffing or something. I don't want that on the mic, so I'm muting my mic when I do that. But this is weird.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Yeah, fine. We'll do a bunch of left door. We'll do left door stuff first, and then we'll do right door stuff. Trust the completionist instinct. Why wouldn't they just tell us something will happen? This investigation, this room, they feel pointless, to be honest. Weird spinning figurines. Saw one in cargo room, employee 421, building a bridge. Oh man. This is one in the cargo room? Red room? Wow. Inside of a sequel exhibit? Yep. Nearby a fireplace. A private but smelly place for an important person. Yep. Okay. A large room, lots of boxes, stairs, something to do with stairs, somewhere both red and blue. Okay. So that's the red and blue door. That's downstairs or in the suicide ending. A large room, lots of boxes. That's the cargo room. Okay, so there's 3 left. We gotta get those there. So this one might be this path, but it might be the other path. I'll see if there will be a reward for finding the copium.
Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet.
No.
Simply because I have no remaining stickers. If I did, you can guarantee we'd be in here for hours.
Yep.
But alas, no stickers.
Okay. Anything else? Fine. Another thing the narrator mentioned was watching a,
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
The narrator mentioned was, playing a movie halfway, then playing the other half in reverse, from the ending to the middle. Which reminds me of, when I watched Home Alone 2, it was on VHS. And it hadn't been rewinded, so I said, like, I didn't know that you could, like, you know, do stop and then rewind to do, like, a really fast rewind. I thought you had to do the really slow rewind through the whole movie where you can actually see it rewinding on the screen. So, I just watched the entire movie in reverse before I could watch it normally. Which was kind of funny, but... yeah. So stupid. Why is it just... okay.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along?
Yes.
Was the bucket guiding him?
Of course.
Yes. This is certainly the most logical explanation.
Let's go. So I already got that one. It gives me flashbacks to, well, a couple games. The first thing that came to mind was Toy Story 2, which I played on the original PlayStation. I feel like there's some sort of figurine in the game that you can get. Another one
Stanley
is...
and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
Is Simpsons Hit and Run. Oh, I won. I have the Dan Giesling stream pulled up to the side here, so I'm doing some prop bets. Even though I'm not listening to him, I kind of want to, but I can't just have his audio
On
play
an
through.
enormous room packed with television
But I got that to the
screens.
side here.
What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
I'm doing some prop bets when I see them come up. Oh, will Dan beat the boss on the first try? I don't know what boss this is. I'm gonna see what a lot of people are saying no. Oh man. It's so tempting to get that, like, that 100 times payout. I was gonna do 100 into yes, because that's a 67 times payout, but I know it's gonna be a no. But one can hope, one can hope. Oh Oh yeah, he's already taking a lot of damage.
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring
it's fine.
it
Beckett,
that
it's
everything
fine.
would be fine.
Beckett, we're okay.
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do?
No.
What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never!
Never.
He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world.
Yes.
At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system. But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls.
I know what
Stanley
happens.
gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself? How could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen. Birds.
Huh?
Silly birds. The control buttons became active again.
Oh.
Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another, and then it dawned on him. This wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world.
Look at that silly bird.
The mind controls were only a facade to disguise its true intentions. Had the bucket known this all along? Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable. Of all the possible paths his life could have taken, this one was surely the best. And Stanley was happy.
Okay.
Someone was following Stanley. He was sure of it. If he checked over his shoulder now, he would surely catch them. It was only a matter of time.
Ha! Alright, come on.
The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket.
Yes. Let's try this now.
Stanley took the bucket with him into this little hallway and closed the doors. This was their hideout.
Yes.
No one would ever find them here. Of course, no one would ever find them anyway because everyone was missing. But Stanley chose to ignore this fact and instead focus on how cool the hideout was. Just him and the bucket, Two renegade heroes against the world,
That's
inside
right.
their secret, undetectable hideout, here, next to room 417.
Yep.
What a treat. Ah, no, apparently not.
Okay. Yeah, now that
Stanley clutched the bucket
area's just
tightly to
gone.
his chest and entered the door on his left.
Alright.
Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet, simply because I have no remaining stickers.
Okay, so it's
If
going to
I
be
did,
that
you can guarantee we'd
text
be
every
in
single
here
time
for
then.
hours. But alas, no stickers.
Alright.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Let's see if I can see like a figure down there. I don't. So, oh well.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an... But Stanley guessed the correct
Yes.
code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Of course it is. Me and Beckett, best of friends. Wherever I go, it goes. Wherever it goes, I go. Like through this hallway, to the right, to the right, to the left.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large
the
door
left.
that read Mind Control. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death. But of course, Stanley and the bucket thought better of it and realized they simply had too much to live for. Nope. It's death for Stanley and the bucket. The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Nah.
At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for
That's right.
each of them.
That's right. We are. Arr! Is this a bottomless hole?
As the machine whirred into motion
Oh, no.
and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be. To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket, but what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere.
No.
Farewell, Stanley.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end, as it was crushed violently to death.
Just gotta make sure there's no figurine there. The Stanley
It was a
Parable
shame, the
2.
death of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a glorious bucket to behold.
Where's my bucket? The bucket? Welcome to the grand exhibit. You are standing in the precipice of knowledge, much like a bucket itself, although the human mind is frequently empty within a cavernous void. But though you use the exhibit in front of you, the mind becomes... But through use of the exhibit in front of you, the mind becomes full and enriched and substantiated knowledge of the bucket, and its history is the only true knowledge we really have. Will you take what you learn here out with you into the world? Will you accept with an open mind what may be challenging about the information in this exhibit? Will you change the lives of yourself and your loved ones as a result of this exhibit? Or will you turn a blind eye and continue to live as you were, in ignorance and darkness?
Can you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own?
Shut
Can
up.
you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see
No.
that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
No! 25 buckets. A photograph of 25 buckets, the greatest number of buckets ever captured on camera. The photographer experienced catatonic shock for several weeks as a result of the euphoria from exposure to this many buckets at once. That's more than 25. What are you talking about? A bucket with 2 handles? This bucket is depicted as having 2 handles. Such a design has never been created in real life, having been deemed too dangerous and recklessly experimental. Every year, dozens are put to death just for attempting it. The horror. The horror. Inferno bucket. A replica of the Inferno bucket, which in the medieval era was so powerfully alluring that it drove dozens of nations to war with one another for control of it. Billions died, and yet in spite of it all, the simple fact remains no one can control a bucket. Stress analogy bucket. Worrying. Negative forecasting, negative thinking, lack of reassurance. Vulnerability equals size and strength of the bucket. Coping strategies equals holes. Stress equals the level of water in the bucket. Rest and relaxation, doing something you enjoy. Rest and relaxation. The stress bucket, presented without commentary. Oh no. Well, we know that buckets predated the existence of mankind. We do not know by how long. This cave drawing depicts early man's discovery of the practical uses of the bucket, by which time the bucket had already likely been around for several millennia. Notice in these drawings how the bucket is allowing itself to be used, having judged humanity to be worthy of its treasures. It's just blocked off.
No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
Yes. That's right. See into any of these rooms? Is there any, like, hidden thing around the corner? Nah. The hanging bucket. This piece symbolizes the necessary relationship between bucket and humanity. However clear our grasp of the bucket may be, there is yet more that is always out of reach. This distance, inevitably, is for our own good. No. Oh, that's a bottomless hole.
But there is something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong. Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment of tools and implements if only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting. Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
So we don't need to go to the broom closet anymore, because...
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
And this is gonna be...
Stepping in.
like so. And we come back. Here. You're now leaving. Oh man. How weird is this though? I don't know how they do this kind of stuff in the game where like things change around you. It's so weird. Like this is, you know, you can write this off as like just having the same floor stacked on top of each other. But the stuff where it's like you turn a corner and there's just something there that isn't there from a, like when there's a hallway that didn't exist when looking at it from the side, but then you turn around and go straight to it and there's a hallway. It's weird. It's time for me and the bucket to escape. Let's go, bucket. Wait. Shh. It's okay. We'll meet again. Beckett. Someday. But it's time for you to go. You're destined for greater things. There's a world outside this office, an entire universe. It's time to see it. Goodbye, my friend. Oh, man.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
No! I have to, apparently.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Replacement bucket.
And try not to lose this one too, you dolt.
Hey! Shut up.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
I still have all. Yeah, okay. And this is the same? This saved?
Stanley, we must
Yeah,
move
okay.
on from this broom closet, simply because I have no remaining stickers. If I come into a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket.
Am I?
The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good will come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. Now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me!
Hey.
The bucket!
Wait!
Could it really be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
Come to me, Stanley! Find me!
He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity.
Where are
And then
you?
suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
What a world. That's a wild alternate reality.
Someone was following Stanley. He was sure of it.
No,
If he
not
checked
even-
over his shoulder now,
not
he would
gonna
surely
look.
catch them. It was only a matter of
Not
time.
gonna look.
Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled.
I got a bucket.
He'd never be alone again, not truly alone, not with the bucket around.
That's right. That's right. Is there anything left on the left
Stanley
side?
clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him,
That's right.
telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
Really? Well, isn't that just special?
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be.
That's right.
No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
We'll do this way. Should be a...
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
What's wrong with the cargo lift? Where is the figure? Ooh, ooh, yes. Come here. Come here.
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley?
Neither.
What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness
None of
that
them.
you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by one? Let me sit on it.
Neither.
I'm sure it will come to me.
Man, it's weird seeing the room from this angle. It's wild. Actually, it's like all the time this game has existed, you can only ever go there, or on here. But now I'm like here. I could go down there and die. Okay. We're gonna do this ending. Bucketified. Ah!
Okay, this is day number 295, tape number I don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore. The longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes. The sheer euphoria I feel every time I pick it up. No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling. And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down, it doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it. I still haven't figured out why I see the world so differently when this bucket is in my arms. Why everything feels so... What do I do with this treasure? I can monetize it. Yes. It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket. This is my golden ticket. But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get me. What's that? Who's there?
What was that? Oh my god.
How long
Okay.
was I sitting there? Stanley wondered to himself. Minutes? Days? Centuries? Did something crucial happen while my senses were turned? He made a note to be more careful with time from now on.
Yeah.
The good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket. Off on another thrilling adventure together.
Let's go.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
And the bucket is right.
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room?
Yes.
Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be. Truly, being here with the bucket was a grand adventure.
Yes.
Stanley reflected on all they'd been through together. First, walking through the door on the right, then walking to the lounge, then arriving at the lounge.
Oh, yeah.
What a thrilling journey the bucket had inspired.
Yep, it's been a wild ride. I mean, there's all that other stuff too, but I guess
Perhaps
it's not
this was
canonically
where
happened
the
yet.
bucket felt most truly at home. Here in the employee lounge. Perhaps it's the only place a bucket can even feel at home.
Where else can you do a ring around the rosy with a pole?
Stanley decided to just give the bucket absolutely as much time as it needed to be in the lounge.
Take as much time as you
Clearly,
need,
the bucket
dear.
and the employee lounge
Dear bucket.
shared a special connection.
That's right. I guess there's nothing else. Alright.
But finally, the bucket was done being in the lounge, and they took the first open door on their left to get back to business.
Nope.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Oh wait, you're not even supposed to get there that way. You're supposed to go up to here. Okay, I didn't even know that. It's not aware. I'm gonna go die down there. It's just I can die, you know. Never have I done it down here before.
But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
Oh, yeah.
Hello. This is a recorded message scheduled either by you or a person in your place of work. The purpose of this message is to warn you about the dangers of recorded messages. If at any time you believe you are listening to a recorded message, please terminate it immediately and cease all flow of information from the recorded message into your perceptual sphere. Thank you, and have a pleasant day.
Okay.
Where are we going today? The bucket asked. Stanley just smiled. Anywhere they went together would be perfectly fine with him.
Oh no. The ending I had planned. It's not good. Just seeing the endings I got written out here. Yeah.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room.
Right.
But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
The right decision.
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was.
Is it the same
How
dialogue?
insightful the bucket turned out to be.
Oh. Because in the other one...
Never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
Nah.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Oh, well, look who's got cold feet. Well, from here, it looks like the only way forward is down, since the lift won't be coming back, but that's okay. You've got a bucket.
That's
Did you
right.
know that buckets are routinely used as cushioning devices? It's true. You can fall on a bucket from literally any height and survive.
You can try it. Down there.
Whoops. Looks like I was wrong. How clumsy of me.
Hello. This is a recorded message scheduled either by you or a person in your place of work.
Same one.
The purpose of this message is to warn you about the dangers of recorded messages. If at any time you believe you are listening to a recorded message...
A good bucket, a strong bucket, a humble bucket, a committed bucket, a bucket of culture and distinction.
That's right.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him,
I got
telling
it.
him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. No, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
It's not wrong.
Stanley
You just got
took
no
the
new
door on his
dialogue,
left
so I don't,
to go back to the meeting room.
you know.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, good. said the bucket. Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Alright.
In here,
Said the bucket.
go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Now pick up the phone,
Said the bucket.
pick up the phone and it will take us back home where we can go about life together.
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
What else was around here? Ah. So your bucket pressed to take me to work with. Okay.
The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head.
Doubt. Take me back home with you.
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me. Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think, it can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location. That's it. It doesn't do anything else.
It's baloney. Don't listen to the loud man, that's right. It's time to go back home, bucket.
You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket.
No.
You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is his awful bucket. This stupid hunk of metal.
Shut up. I press it
Sad. I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it.
Yeah. You believe I'm real, don't you, Stanley? I do. I see you, I
Yes, I
touch you,
suppose on
therefore you're
closer
real.
inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another.
Me and the bucket. To relive the same day with me over and over. Gladly.
Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket?
Because it is. It is, and it always will be. Press X to go home, to work, to home, to work, to home.
Oh no. I'm having feelings for the bucket.
No, 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 no. What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing. Yes. The bucket could tell me what to do in this troublesome situation.
Can't even. Okay. This is so. Hello, bucket.
Stanley, give me the bucket. Give it to me.
What?
Give me the bucket, Stanley.
No.
I need it. Give it to me now. Give it, or I'll...
That was a special moment with the bucket.
All of his co-workers were gone.
Oh, man.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
The embrace of an old friend. A weathered companionship that stands the test of time.
That's right.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door. This was not the correct way to enter. But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
Yes.
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct?
Yes.
Was this better than... No.
Yes.
Never mind.
Yes, it was
The
true.
bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
It's always true. The meeting
No.
was-
Said the bucket.
Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
No. To be one with the bucket.
No, stop. Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, "No buckets past this point." Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket
Where?
here?
Oh.
Unless... What if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a
not
lot
true.
about your behavior up to this point.
It's not true.
If that's true, well, my
No.
goodness. I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't
It's
a
in that
bucket.
window.
Please, step in here for a moment.
Wait, what? How does that make sense? I guess it can't. Maybe it does. Eh. Okay, what's in here?
Now then, I'm going to run you through
Where
some
am
test
I?
scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This
Yes.
should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket? Incorrect.
What?
It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket. Item 2. Is this a bucket? Incorrect. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket. Item 3. Is this a bucket? Correct.
Yes.
This is a bucket. Item 4. Is this a bucket? Correct. This is a tractor and not a bucket.
That's right.
To be honest, I just sort of put this one in here as a gimme, but I was starting to get concerned that even this might be too much for you. Thank you for not making me look like an idiot. Okay, next one. Is this a bucket? Incorrect.
What?
This is a bucket.
No, it's not.
Item 6. Is this a bucket? Trick question. Both. Gotcha. Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere. Okay, you and I both know there isn't anything here. And I don't appreciate the implication that nothing is a bucket when we
That's a
both
bucket
clearly
right
know
there.
that a bucket is something.
That's a
and therefore
bucket.
nothing could possibly be something. Unless, in your twisted mind,
up.
have you somehow convinced yourself that a bucket is nothing? Answer me straight, Stanley. Do you believe that nothing is a bucket? You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket?
This.
Mere moments
This
ago,
in
I could
my hand
answer
is a
these
bucket.
questions with confidence.
Okay.
And yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is?
I do.
Am I a bucket?
No.
Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship
You're a
apart.
bucket.
I
You're
can't
a
have that.
bucket.
I'm sorry, but I'm going to erase all buckets from the game
No.
entirely. Okay, here we go. What happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait, was everything a bucket?
Yes.
Every single thing in the game was a bucket. My God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful
I wanna
to
be
get
a
some
bucket.
clarity on
I wanna be a
issue.
bucket.
It doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell
Okay,
you what.
bring it back then.
I'll reset everything, and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay?
Yes.
And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person?
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
I can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing.
The bucket made Stanley want to be a better man and a better co-worker. In time, perhaps, he would become both of those things. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct?
Yes.
Well, no, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
So there's
Stanley
nothing.
took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
I kind of want to do it again.
No,
Said the
And
bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else.
I want to
The
do it so
cargo
I
lift.
answer
Yeah,
everything
good.
correctly.
Said the bucket.
So
Now
I
ride the lift
so he
all
knows
the
that
way
I
to
know
the
what a
top.
bucket is.
There's something up there I need you to do.
I want to see what that does.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about
So the
this
first
obvious
two
fact.
were not buckets.
He was firmly convinced that
The
the
third
bucket had
was.
spoken to him.
The first
and he
tractor
unthinkingly
wasn't.
did
The second
whatever
tractor
bucket
was.
asked. No, stop.
Look there on the wall, you see? There's a sign right there. It says, no buckets past this point. Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket?
Can I have a skip
suppose
button?
that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment.
Okay, let's do this. 100% acing the quiz. Let's
Now
go.
then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket.
Right.
Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket.
Okay.
Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket? Correct.
Yes.
It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
And that is
Item
not a
2.
bucket. It's 3D
Is
printed.
this a bucket?
Model of a bucket.
Correct. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
Yes.
Item 3. Is this a bucket?
Yes.
Correct. This is a bucket. Item 4. Is this a bucket?
No.
Correct. This is a tractor and not a bucket. To be honest, I just sort of put this one in here as a gimme, but I was starting to get concerned that even this might be too much for you. Thank you for not making me look like an idiot. Okay, next one. Is this a bucket?
Yes.
Correct. This is a bucket.
That's the
Item
trick
6.
question, right?
Is this a bucket? Trick question. Both.
Yep.
Gotcha. Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere.
And the answer is no.
Yes. Thank you. There's nothing here. Of course it isn't a bucket. We both know full well that nothing isn't a bucket.
Yes.
Wait, when I say nothing isn't a bucket, that makes it sound like I'm saying everything is a bucket, which of course is not true. Unless... Is that what you think? Answer me straight, Stanley. Are you trying to tell me that you believe everything is a bucket?
The answer is yes, I know that.
You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket? Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
What happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait, was everything a bucket?
We've seen this, so it's fine. I just wanted to see if there's anything different for, doing that.
A soft
So,
wind blew outside and perhaps rain started, and if it did, it stopped shortly after. Stanley hoped that he would one day see weather.
feel like there used to be.
Not everyone is so lucky to have a bucket, but Stanley is a very lucky fellow. Very lucky indeed.
I feel like there used to be actually like rain sounds outside when that happened.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
And it is.
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
It wasn't.
Stanley took the door on his left to go back, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Down we go. Where the ride ends, no
good
one
Stanley,
knows.
I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually.
No!
You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content.
Yeah.
We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
That you died in a fire. This fire. I want to go back. Through here. What's that? Oh, that's the meeting room. I don't know what that is. Might be the cheat room, maybe? 2 doors. Baby. What say? Coffee. No coffee, no work. I like work, I just hate my boss. And this one, I hate Mondays. Hey, it's the fern. Finally found it again. Is anything?
Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well.
Fine. Accents?
Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue?
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
It's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
No. Never. I will never. It reminds me of that minigame from Mario Party 4, where you're tracing the line.
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer.
Huh?
I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree?
No.
Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
How do I turn it off?
Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait.
How do I turn it off?
Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The broom closet? Certainly not.
Yeah.
I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give the fans what they want. Hurry and... The Bucket Destroyer, my prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. It takes a lot of humility to carry a bucket so
What's
magnificent.
left?
Stanley checked his ego and then proceeded onward.
It's unplugging the phone.
Stanley clung the bucket to his cheek. Could his co-workers really all be gone?
It's getting out here.
Yes, whispered the bucket into Stanley's ear.
Yes.
We've done it. We've escaped from that dull office and that pesky narrator. At last, out here in the white void, we are alone. Now, and for the first time, I can reveal to you my true self.
The bucket began to tell Stanley of its life and its history, of the countless wars it witnessed,
What?
desecrating the land and lives of untold numbers of innocent humans, and the bucket's own complicity therein, of sadness and regret, and the many years it spent dwelling on the actions it might have taken to curb the madness and the decay, if only it had been stronger, of hope and redemption, and its crusade to uplift the stock of life for the common man, to manifest justice where none existed, and the bittersweet reality of time, to see one's dreams and wishes met halfway, meted out in parcels like charity, and abandoned as soon as the warm glow of inspiration begins to dim. The opportunities to do so much more. There was so much it could have done, perhaps,
so sorry.
the bucket wondered to itself. Perhaps if it had seen its own darkness with a clearer perception. This was way too much for Stanley.
What are you talking about?
He screamed.
You're a bucket!
To this, the bucket furrowed its brow.
No,
Said the bucket.
not since the evil wizard Gambhorata first ensnared me in his machinations as
What's that?
payback for the sacred amulet I stole from his treasured vaults. I was young back then and could not conceive the ramifications of... No!
Stanley screamed even louder this time.
This is stupid! You are a bucket!
No.
This is so stupid! Why are we even doing this?
As Stanley screamed and screamed and screamed, the bucket revealed its true form, transforming into a mighty beast of untold power, its fangs glistening like... My God, Stanley, you did it. You saved us from the bucket. Thank God you already had all 12 emblems of sages and knew the incantations to summon their true power. Otherwise, we would have easily been overwhelmed by the bucket's power. I'm speechless. You've demonstrated such bravery here today. Come, let's restart the game, and we'll agree to never again go trifling with this bucket, or the dark magic cast away inside of it.
Oh my God, okay.
How long was I sitting there? Stanley wondered to himself. Minutes? Days? Stanley cradled the bucket in a gentle embrace, protective yet delicate, assertive yet compassionate. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not
So the
direct
last
to the meeting room,
one that we
but Stanley
can
had
do
felt
with
the
the
bucket
bucket
calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge
would be...
was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
Unplugging the phone.
Stanley took the door on his left.
Actually, no, we
to
gotta
go
destroy
back
the
to
bucket
meeting
too, but I want
room.
to unplug the phone first.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yeah, good.
Said the bucket.
Yeah,
Now
good.
ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
How long have I been streaming?
Now pick up the phone.
A little
Said the
under 2
bucket.
hours.
Pick up the phone,
Oops.
and it will take us back home,
Oh.
where we can go about life together.
Whoa, hold on. Why did you unplug the phone? Were you trying to resist the bucket's orders? Stanley, I was joking. Obviously, the bucket isn't talking to you and telling you to do things. Buckets can't talk. It was a joke.
Don't you get the joke? It's funny, Stanley. A talking bucket.
Can't you see? Oh, goodness. I must have really bungled up the delivery if you actually took me seriously. Where did I mess up the joke? Should I have paused for longer or spoken quicker? Comedic timing is so difficult. I wish I were better at it, but there isn't exactly an instructional video on comedy that one can watch to fully... Oh, wait, yes, there is. It's sitting right here. Let's take a look.
Okay.
What is comedic timing? What is comedic timing? How does it work? How long should it last? How can it be used to effectively silence your political enemies? And more importantly, can it be taught in its entirety within 90 seconds?
Maybe.
Thankfully, the answer to all of these questions is yes. Let's dive deeper. If you've ever told a joke or made someone laugh, in all likelihood, you did it while standing 50 to 80 centimeters from them in a room of no more than 76 degrees Fahrenheit, with one of your arms raised straight upward at a 15-degree angle from your body. These are the optimal conditions for good comedic timing.
What?
To begin the joke, start by stating and spelling your name. Next, provide a brief synopsis of the joke, including the specific times at which the recipient of the joke will laugh, and then spell out your name a second time. With these steps complete, it's time to begin the humor. Speak the entire joke in no more than 18 seconds and no less than 13 and a half, pausing only for bathroom breaks when necessary. When the joke has concluded, it is customary to inform your listener that the joke is over by declaring in your loudest possible voice, "I'm Dunny with the funny." Let's practice screaming, "I'm Dunny with the funny" now.
I'm Dunny with the funny.
Good. This saying is a perfect example of expectations management, which is the cornerstone of good comedy. Finally, it's time to hand out surveys.
Collecting hard data from your audience on how wrapped they were throughout the joke is the only way to grow or learn as a comedian. An effective survey should be no less than 10 pages long and should include the same question reprinted several times, just to ensure the survey taker is actually paying attention and not simply filling in answers at random. And that's all there is. With these strategies at your disposal, you'll have audiences doubled over in laughter and even tripled over in laughter in no time at all. Just remember to let them stop laughing at some point, you gut-busting little scamp. After all, we're each of us needed on the front lines of the war to fight the 12-legged invader who threaten our very existence and who very likely die in a hailstorm of bullets and mandibles. All of us must be prepared to give our lives to this noble cause, just as our children must do after us, and their children after them. Godspeed, and may Earth reign supreme.
Hey, goodness, this video is a little outdated, isn't it? Well, no matter. I think the fundamentals of proper comedic timing are still as relevant today as they were back then. So with that in mind, I believe the only way forward is for us to return to the two doors and walk through all of this again, so I can try telling my story with more appropriate comedic delivery. Come along, let's head back.
I've got a joke for you. A funny joke. So Ralph went up to Hudson Bay over the weekend for a fishing trip. When he got back, Jim was asking, "Hey, did you catch anything up there, right?" I was like, "Yeah." Ralph caught pneumonia. And just like 2 million other Americans every year, Ralph experienced symptoms of coughing, fever, itchy. Okay.
I can feel it. This
so
time,
stupid.
I'm really going to nail the delivery. You'll be in stitches. A talking bucket, you'll say? How ridiculous. How absurd. What a hilarious concept. The king of comedy. That's what you'll call me. Thank goodness we had the instructional video. Otherwise, who knows where we'd be right now. Well, I wouldn't be the king of comedy, that's for sure. The bucket spoke to Stanley.
The bucket spoke.
The bucket spoke.
Oh, do that voice. Do that voice for the entire. Do the entire game over, but with that voice. It would be fantastic.
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left.
Thought I just saw like a third door open.
What? We're back at the phone already? No, what's going on? There were supposed to be several rooms leading up to this. There was supposed to be a build-up to this point, a dramatic display of remarkable comedic wit which culminates in this scene with the phone. But now the timing's completely off. The joke will never land, well, not the way it was meant to. And it's all my fault. I must have forgotten that the phone room comes immediately after the 2 doors room. What an egregious mistake. I've made a fool of myself. I don't deserve the title of King of Comedy. I'm nothing. I'm not even the lowliest joke-telling whelp. I think I need to go back and rewatch that instructional video again.
Oh no.
Yes, surely that will help me improve my... Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left. What? We're back at the phone already? No.
Okay.
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left. No. You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back to the phone.
Did you not even look at the instructional video? I think
No.
this is all covered very clearly. There's no way I can make the comedic timing work now. It's done. The joke is completely done and over. It's all your fault, Stanley. I'm going to be ridiculed in the community of other joke writers. I'm going to be shamed at every one of our meetings from now on. All because you couldn't watch a simple video and take a hint. Are you proud of yourself for bringing me down, Stanley? Are you proud?
Stanley, you love the bucket so much it's like you... it's as though all of your other most prized possessions pale in comparison. Yes. Well, let me try that again, Stanley. I heard that you are pale with shame over how unabashedly in love with a bucket you are. No? Still not? Is it the delivery? Pale with shame. Pale with shame? Pale... What's another word to describe a bucket? Stanley, this bucket is so metal. I think I saw it playing guitar. No. We're getting away from making fun of Stanley's obsession with the bucket, which was the whole point of this. I'm no good at these jokes. I need more instructional videos. That's exactly what it is. That's what will make me
give us a smile.
Comedy again. More instructional videos. Let's see.
Wait, what? Bucket speedrun. Bucket speedrun.
Stanley's bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Bucket speedrun. Bucket speedrun. It's time for a bucket speedrun. Speedrun.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Speedrun.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
Crap.
Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire, if not for the soothing present. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Bucket speedrun. To the very end, to the fast, very end, like, Foggy speedrun to the end. You are king of
Stanley
speed.
and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
You are king of speed.
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in
We
shock.
must save
Everyone in the office was
Justin
being videotaped,
Trudeau.
monitored like guinea pigs.
He is in Saskatchewan.
The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine. Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
Only the bucket.
But here was the proof. The heart of the
bucket's life
operation.
is the life
Controls
for me.
labeled with
All
emotions,
and a bottle of
happy
win.
or
The bucket's
sad
life
or
is the life for
content.
me.
Walking,
and a bottle
eating,
of
working,
win.
all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as
Bucket's
the
life
cold
is the life for
reality of
me.
his past began to sink
and a
in,
bottle of win.
Stanley decided... Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over?
Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door.
Out the door.
The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to skis in every country on Earth. Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support.
I see a tree. I see a tree.
What? Wait.
I see a house.
What was happening? Why had the door stopped? Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed? An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty, until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave. Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket, would go to any lengths not to part with the bucket. No. Stanley can't leave this place, not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms. Not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room. But at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out.
Okay. Let's close the door.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go any way except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever.
Bucket dialogue.
I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do.
I hate Mondays.
Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
Okay. So is that... go back to the button heaven. So maybe there'd be a figurine here. Buttons. 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 Oh, buttons. Buttons. Okay.
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself. That's all I need. If I can make it through this door,
So we won't get
I can
the
make it through
bucket
them
this
all.
time.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee
So I'm
lounge
assuming-
first, just to admire it. It was okay.
I'm assuming
But
that,
eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
what am I saying?
Stanley was so bad at following directions.
I'm
it's
assuming that
incredible he wasn't 5 years
all
ago.
the endings here now are the same as they were
Look,
when I
Stanley,
went
think
through
perhaps
first.
we've gotten off on the wrong foot.
It's just
here.
that I need
I'm not
to
your
go this way
enemy,
without a
really, I'm
bucket
not.
to get the
I
2
realize that
figurines left.
investing in your
And then I'm going to go back
trust in
and
someone
check
else can
the
be difficult. But the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you
secret
all
room.
this time.
Oh.
What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do
Not
you
the
have
secret room, the
zero
meeting room.
consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do
I should have
want to
seen
help
if that
you,
there was
to show
a,
you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. You're getting close now, Stanley.
Yes.
You've nearly gotten all of the figurines. Very soon, you'll collect the last one. And then the first number will equal the second number. And that will be it.
Yep.
We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to have none of them. And now
Also, I still hate
we
the
have
name.
them all. You can't go back to when you had no figurines. None of us can.
I hate that smiling Stanley. It's so cursed. This is a room. Nothing here.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door. Oh, thank God, you are willing to listen to me.
The last one's
You
going to
see
be by the
that
stairs.
I really have wanted you to be happy all this time. The problem is all these choices.
We
The
go
two
in
of us
infinite
always
loop
trying to
again
get somewhere
somehow.
that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right
Which
now.
doesn't make any sense.
Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
This could be either door, I guess.
What do we want? What are we looking for? Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? No, wait. Where are you going?
I'm going to get the Stanley figure.
Oh, no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this.
Let's buy some stairs, right?
Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me.
It's not?
Please, Stanley, think about what you're doing.
What?
No! Oh,
Is it back this way?
thank God. You lived. You had me worried there for a moment.
Did I?
Now, can we please get back to the other room?
It's not here. Where is it then? Where could it be?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it
Why
mean?
some stairs?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Is Stanley, without the bucket, really Stanley at all?
No.
No, surely not.
It's not.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Yeah. The last one. Stairs. Something to do with stairs. Maybe.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
It was down here the entire time.
And there it is, the last Stiggly Wiggly. Savor this moment, Stanley. This is a real accomplishment. This is doing something just for the sake of doing it. Where so many people expect to be rewarded for the most trivial achievements, you've insisted that a job well done is its own reward. I would tell you that I'm proud of you for collecting them all, but that would be like a reward, and we can't have that. So, instead I'll just say, it's done. We're all done here.
Yeah.
And now we can go to whatever the hell you were doing before you hunted for figurines.
Alright. Can we go back? Is that possible to go back? Now that they're all gone? No. Let's begin the game again. And we'll go to the meeting room.
Stanley, I'm sorry, but I have to put a pause on things. It's those figurines. Those figglers. I haven't stopped thinking about them since you nabbed every last one. Wasn't it just the most intrinsically fulfilling moment of your entire life? Didn't it fill you to the brim with inner richness? Yes, I know we're supposed to be telling a story, but won't you please indulge me with one more trip back to the memory zone? I would love nothing more than to revisit the figurines. Just one more time.
Okay. We can do that. It's a nice spot, honestly. Very nice.
Here's where it all began. The first collectible. Back then, we had no idea of how many of them we'd find. Sure, it said 6 right there on the screen, but how could we know for certain? We were so innocent. We'll never be like that again, Stanley.
What? 7 of 6? Oh, yeah, here we go.
And here was a second Stanley. You found this one all on your own, just by poking around in the boss's bathroom. You did that, Stanley. I'll be honest. Back then, I had no faith in you to find any of them, let alone 6.
How could
But you continue to surprise me in all sorts of mundane, unremarkable ways.
I don't like how it's saying 8 of 6. It's weird.
Okay, let's do a little quiz. Which of these rooms was the room you found your third mini stand? Can you remember?
It's the boss's office.
Hey, that's exactly right. It was here, behind the boss's office. It was the third one. You picked it up, and then after that, you had 3 of them. I'm glad these moments are so crystal clear in your memory, but
They just happened like an hour ago.
After all, science tells us that it's impossible to forget your third time doing anything.
Yes, it is.
Let's see, what came next? Oh yes, we found a Figley in this pink room. Oh, well, I can't actually say I remember being in this room, but it's here in the memory zone, so it must have happened.
It didn't. What is this room? I mean, I like it. It reminds me of, what the heck? Ooh.
This was the 5th mini stand, and this one was really something special. It was by the red and blue doors. I remember it so clearly. In fact, because this one is particularly special to me, I made a little video to commemorate the occasion. Enjoy.
It's Windows Movie Maker? Oh my god. Yeah! High five. Like and subscribe. Rate this video 5 stars. Message me on
Takes you
YouTube.
back, doesn't it? I spent a lot of time making that video, but it was 8 minutes I wouldn't have spent on anything else.
Okay. And the last and final figurine was under the stairs.
And then, Stanley, then we came to the last collectible, the final figurine, right here, under the stairs. This memory
Slimy
is the
James
most
Gas
distinct
by
and clear
followers,
in my
friends of
mind.
yours
Perhaps
on a
because
site I won't
it
name.
was the one that happened more recently than all the others.
How about no?
Who can truly say how the mind works?
How
All I know
about-
is that this is the moment where you picked up a Figley and I thought to myself, yes, that's all of them. They're all collected. It was a moment unlike any other. Except for the other moments picking up figurines, which it was exactly like.
Yay. Back to the memory zone. Ooh. Oh, this is weird.
And then there was no more. Because we've caught up to the present moment. Nothing left to do but move onward into the future. Goodbye, memory zone.
What are we watching? When did it happen? Just now. You missed it just now.
No, I'm not done. I'm not ready to move on. Stop the loading screen. Isn't there some way we can stay here, keep enjoying these figurines? Let's just go backwards. We'll do the memory zone again from the opposite direction. See how that feels.
Let us sing, 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 let us sing. Birds and bees, cardboard, or television, yeah. Birds and bees television.
Okay, yes.
Cardboard houses X-ray
under
vision.
the stairs. I remember this. I must say, of
Many
all
little
the
silly
figurines
rhymes.
we looked at in
Things
our
forgotten.
initial tour,
Things
of the
forgotten,
memory
lost
zone,
their
this
time.
one is the most distinctive
Telephones
clear
and
in my
silly
mind.
games.
Let's keep going. I
Periods
want
and
more.
Lots of question marks. Do I gotta go to the pink room again? I wanna go to the pink room again.
And here's where I made that video. Don't you remember the video we watched?
Yes. I don't wanna see it, no!
Yes, I love that video.
Okay, at least you fast forward. You put it on like 4 times speed or something. Even though the audio should have sped up.
Still don't remember the pink room, Stanley.
No, this is
Still
the warehouse.
No memory of this one. Good room, though. A solid room.
This is the warehouse. I don't know why it looks like this. Oh, I can't get on the boxes. I thought I could.
These
Yeah.
really were a treat to hunt down. You know, if there had been any kind of reward for finding all of these, it really would have muted the intrinsic joy of collecting them. I'm very glad we resisted the temptation. Next one.
Can I go back to the TV? Warehouse?
This was our second Figley. Don't you remember? Yes, I remember it too. The past is truly a wonderful thing. Why does anyone ever choose to leave it? Keep going.
No one chooses to leave it, it just happens that
This
way.
is it. The very first one we found in the exhibit where I introduced you to the figurines. Oh, I want more memories, Stanley. I want to keep going. What else is there? What came before this? Look, it's the terrible new content that we were originally sold on. I remember hating it back then, but time does put a rosy filter on everything.
This
In
was
fact,
2 days ago.
I dare say I'm actually quite fond of it now. Look how much fun the past is. I want more. More memories.
How far back can we go?
Oh, yes, the 2 doors. Who could have forgotten that? A classic memory, this one.
Doesn't matter.
And before everything else, there was your office.
Yeah.
Is there anything else? Was there something that came before your office? There's something I feel I can remember. I can remember. Yes, I'm remembering something now. I remember before this whole story got started. Back then I was different. I used to make big decisions. I was passionate. I was skeptical. I weighed each decision with profound thoughtfulness. And then somewhere along the way, I stopped making decisions. I became lazy. And I came up with a character named Stanley to do my thinking for me. He would make the decisions. He would decide which way to go. I would cheer him on as he collected figurines for no reason. Why did I invent Stanley? Was I lonely? Yes, perhaps that's it. Perhaps I needed to imagine I had companionship. And Stanley really did make for a wonderful companion, even if he was a fiction. But I suppose it's grown old. I want to think for myself again. I want to go back to how it used to be. Yes, I can be on my own again. I can do it. I'll be stronger this time. I'll take care of myself. I don't need Stanley anymore.
No.
Oh, but he truly was so much fun to play with. You know what? Since we're in the memory zone, how about one more good memory? Let's go back just once and give Stanley one more run of the office, and then I'll retire him for good. I did enjoy telling his story so very much. Okay, here we go. This is the story of a man named Stanley.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Let's...
When Stanley came to a set of
I
two
think
open
that's...
doors, he entered the door on his left.
I think that's everything that this game has to offer.
Yet there was not a single person here either.
So...
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Here's the door, just go.
So we're gonna give Stanley the ending that he deserves. After everything. After everything we've been through, I think Stanley
walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
no bucket. You can't escape with a bucket.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Okay. I've already done a speed run, so I don't need to do it again.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility,
it's been a crazy ride.
It was too horrible to believe it couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under
going through this game again and then seeing all the new
time?
content too.
Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job?
It's been fun.
That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all. Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Well, Stanley Parable. It's been fun to come back and play this again. See all the original content that was in the game, and then the new stuff that was added or changed or whatever, and then all the, the bucket stuff and everything. I just remember loving this game back when it came out in 2013, which is a long time ago now. I played it a lot, just because I liked exploring, and I always thought, there's something more to this game. It's just this feeling that you can't shake, that there's like something that you're missing. There's something hidden somewhere, some sort of secret that you've yet to find. But so if you explore, this world a little bit more, maybe you'll find something new, some new bit of dialogue, and I think I showed you everything that I had initially found, like all the, going back and forth during the big staircase ending, or weird little subtle stuff like that, where you might not find it if you're just going through, in a very linear fashion. But if you're going back and forth, there's like secret bits of dialogue and everything. So I think I did a decent job showcasing what I know based off that, and new content too. So it's been fun. I don't know if or when I'll come back to this game. But I enjoyed it, and it's been really fun to come back again. So, let's give Stanley the ending he deserves. Even though we don't have a bucket in our hands, it's fine.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
So, let's see. So while I'm here, is there any way I can check trophies? Earned 6 of 12 trophies apparently. You're not gonna see this on the stream, I don't think. But I'm looking at this now. Okay. So the trophies that I don't have are test trophy, please ignore. Test trophy description, replace this, which we've heard about. Super go outside. Don't play the Stanley Parable for 10 years. Settings world champion. Set all settings sliders in the menu to all the available numbers. Welcome back. Quit the game and then start it again. And commitment. Play the Stanley Parable for the entire duration of a Tuesday. Like, a couple of these I could do. You know? Like, I could quit the game and come back and get that. I'll have to stop streaming to do that. Settings World Champion, I could probably do that. It'll take a little bit, but I could. But play the Stanley Parable for the entire duration of a Tuesday? Don't play the Stanley Parable for 10 years? Then test trophy, please ignore. You know, it's impossible to get. There was an achievement in the original Stanley Parable that was impossible. Like, the trophy, the achievement was like, it's impossible to get this achievement. So, you know, it's all part of this. Like, you're never really gonna 100% this, but I consider it, you know, to be 100% when you can get like all the reasonable achievements, you know. So, yeah. What trophies did I get? Apparently I'm broadcasting only mic audio at the moment. Let me just test that real quick. Hello? I'm broadcasting only mic audio. Okay, yeah, so. What did I get? I got Speedrun, which 13.5% of players have earned, which is complete the Stanley Parable in under 4 minutes 22 seconds, not including load times. Click on door 4305 times, which 49.2% of players earned. 8888888888888888, which 28.9% of players earned. You can't jump. 77.9% of players earned. Beat the game. Just complete the Stanley Parable. 80.6% of players earned. Get your first trophy. 93.4% of players earned. Award the first game. There's a trophy that is for obtaining all other trophies, which I'm not going to get, I guess. I mean, all the reasonable achievements I got, and all the unreasonable achievements I have not got, and will not get. So, yeah. That's it. So I will say thank you to Respawn Boy for tuning in every now and again for this. I appreciate you being here. And I hope, I hope my commentary was somewhat entertaining. I know, there's lots of people that play this game. You go on YouTube, like Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, all of them, they've played it. So there's a lot of options out there, so I appreciate, you sticking around with me for a bit. Even though you're not here now, whatever. Maybe you'll watch this later, maybe not, I don't know. That's it for Stanley Parable. Alright. I don't know, I might do some Elden Ring. Maybe later, though. Maybe I'll do some Elden Ring later. Like, this evening or something. For now, take care. Have a good day. And, get this game for yourself, because it's really, really fun. And I don't know, it's a good little experience, so. Yeah. Take care, bye-bye.